Hello there, it's been a while. I've recently started to branch out my Gunpla collection. I know the subject of this review is not technically Gunpla, but it is quite similar. The kit I'm talking about is by Sheik Mainland, and it is the Zarov, which apparently is 1/44 scale. The first thing to talk about is looks. Using mobile suits from the Gundam franchise, it's like a combination of the Gehara Doga's head and aesthetic on the general body type of the Gustav Karl. Also, I'm pretty sure cylinders were the designer's favorite 3D shape, as the shoulders and the entire legs are made up of mostly that. Also, due to their size, it has given this mech thunder thighs. Skirt flaps also look like they can tank more shots compared to the torso. I mean, look at this. All this to protect the thighs. I know they are important, but still. Priorities, I guess. Anyways, color separation is mostly plastic. However, unlike anything in my Gunpla collection, stickers weren't used for this red part right over here. Instead, they painted it. Here is the runner as proof. As you can see, obvious painting. Interesting way of doing things, I must say. Now, the eyes over here are not painted. They could technically have been, because promotional art keeps showing them red, so it's sort of implied as possible, but it is understandable why they didn't. These are small, so it will be a massive pain in the ass to actually do it on a large scale. Speaking of ass, the back skirt flaps hold 2 magazines each, as seen here, and can even store the beam sabers, which this has. Also, the beam sabers are a bit, well, difficult to take out. Also, I misplaced the effect parts, but I'm pretty sure they're neon pink. So, like most other Gundams. Anyways, these are also well armored. It's not as thick as the front, but like 75% of it, still a fair amount. Now, I think it's time to get to the armament, and that I feel is best summed up as a Call of Duty loadout where every weapon has the akimbo perk attached, because you get dual Panzerfaust or Sturmfaust for the Gundam equivalent. You also get dual tomahawks. Because dual tomahawk poses are just epic. And you also get 2 AKs, because these are clearly just AKs. Because, like, why not? Before I move on, you also get what I believe are water slide decals. Interesting to say the least. Or they could be dry rub-ons. I don't know. I rarely use those kinds of decals. Anyways, onto the hands, and you get, including the ones attached here, 3 pairs. The holding fist, widespread, and regular fist. Now, just to let people know, these, as well as some of the grey parts like the skirt attachments right over here, lanes flying by, are made of a rubber-like plastic. I don't really know how else to say it. Also, I'm pretty sure just plugging the hands in causes them to stress, evident in the widespread hands. Because when I think it'd be better if I just pull it out. When I unplug the hands and then plug these in, it's a bit tight to do, and also the hand has a bit of a stress mark. That bit right over there, bit concerning, and it just goes away if I take it out, meaning that the ball joint is stressing it, most likely because the hole is just too small for the ball joint. I would say it's best to look out for that, because you may never know. Size wise, I'd say he's pretty comparable to other contemporary mobile suits like the Quanta on stilts right over here, who is roughly around the same height as my full armored Gundam right over there. But of course, dwarfs in comparison to my Hainu right over here. But of course it would. It's my real grade Hainu. Ain't that fun? Now, in terms of articulation, it is quite good for how chunky and thick this mecha is. Because, well, don't really need to mention much about the head because it's ball jointed, so it can do whatever you want. Has a good amount of range. The arms are just free to do whatever they want. They fully rotate. You can go out this much, which is more than I was actually expecting. That's because they have these bits right over here to help extend the range of motion. Very nice. The shield can swivel around, can pivot a bit, do this. But what I really like is when you bend the elbows. Well, first, elbow swivel, obviously. But when you bend the elbow, this bit hides itself away. And this part over here moves independently. It's shifting armor. That is awesome because it's on effectively a high grade. You have to get to real grade stuff just to really see that. For Gunpla. Really cool. Also, well, they bend this much, which is a really good amount. Obviously, you get a waist swivel. I mean, why would it not? Get some arcing back, slight forward, but a fair amount of wiggles to the side. The legs go out and back this much, a full front split. And as for the side split, it's the full amount. The skirts, even though they're this thick, don't really get in the way that much. Very good. You can also move them around a bit because these, the front ones, are ball jointed. And as for the legs, they have a thigh swivel and more shifting parts. This and this when you bend the knee. Ooh. It also bends quite a fair amount. Also, the mags from the back fell out because I probably hit them on something. Probably the backpack right over here. Not really much of an issue, but if it does consistently fall out, I'll probably just glue it in. Not really much of an issue. This ankle guard, I think that's what it's called, is ball jointed, meaning with this amount of range, you can combine it with the feet right over here to have a decent amount of ankle pivot with some this much down and this much up. It's not really fantastic in comparison to everything else, but it's serviceable to say the least. Which, all things considered, could be worse. Build process was mostly smooth sailing and comparable to the high grades that I've built that came out fairly recently. Accessories are plentiful and you can store all of them on, well, except for the hands. And if you like aggressive looking grunt suits that can also double as an early / mid game boss fight, then this is perfect for you. Really, the only disappointment I have is that ankle pivots could be a bit more because the amount of articulation everything else has is great. But I'm not saying they're terrible though, because you can still get pretty good poses out of this guy. So all in all, this is a one satisfactory full package. 40 plus SGD max is, well, what I would recommend because that's roughly how much I paid for it. Well, not me, my dad. Yeah, totally worth it. And I didn't even paint it. So that's all for this review. I have 2 recolors of this kit in my backlog, which has grown even more because I recently came back from Japan and bought 10 kits back home. 2 of them being master grades and 1 is a real grade, so it might take a while to get to those. Anyways, I hope this was a useful and helpful review, and to see you next time. Bye.